Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Libra September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is, as far as September goes, Venus will be in Libra from the 14th until the 30th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, this could simply be about a lot of self-love and loving your Libra qualities, and especially those that are expressed outwardly, especially if you do have Libra on your first house cusp in your actual chart. It's your ascendant, those qualities projected outwardly. You may strongly be enamored with it this time, again, very strongly about self-love, loving your refined, charming, diplomatic, tactful, artistic, even persuasive qualities, and you really... Two, if you're unattached at this time, Libra, you may connect with a Libra Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Libra characteristics. It could be someone that plays an integral role in your in new beginnings, your outlook on life, maybe even making a first impression on somebody. And it could also be a time, too, where you really are striving for greater peace and expressing this very outwardly. At this time, and you're really looking for very peaceful and very tranquil relationships with first house people, such as a grandmother, people you knew from your early childhood. Perhaps it could be also people that have really been instrumental in new beginnings for you. This could also be a time where you value being refined, tactful, diplomatic, very peace-loving, fair-minded, equitable, balanced, as far as how you're coming across to others, your interactions with those from your early childhood, with your interactions with a grandmother even. And anyway, and also appearing, it could be a time where you're doing things to make yourself appear more attractive at this time than usual, and being very refined perhaps in the process. Next thing up, Mars will be in Virgo, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, well, this could be about dealing with a lot of private battles, and you may, in the situation with an aunt or an uncle, people prominent in your private life may be more acrimonious and contentious than usual. It could be really a lot of judgmental, critical energy, battles with a lot of complaining, a lot of derisive, derogatory remarks, and perhaps arguments over hygiene and health with 12th house people at this time. And you might be putting a lot of energy trying to analyze who your real friends are and who your hidden adversaries are at this time. You may be somewhat, this could also be a time too where you might be putting a lot of nervous energy into 12th house matters, such as dealing with hidden enemies, doing things in solitude and seclusion, trying to work through limitations and restrictions at this time. But remember, working too much and exerting too much energy, perhaps even service for any Virgo related matter, work, industry, could be the self-undoing, and you may lack a little, at this time your vitality and energy might be a little bit more depleted, more so than usual, and you might find yourself also getting upset in isolated cases. If you do have one, it might exasperate or agitate you a little more if there is some kind of Virgo like mental illness happening, like something like OCD or some kind of germophobia or whatever that word is for that now. It might not be called germophobia anymore, but you may want to look that up, or some anxiety situation or some psychosomatic situation going on at this time. And if you're unattached at this time, Libra, you may connect with a Virgo Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Virgo traits, and maybe for a clandestine relationship at this time, and when you really kind of behind the scenes and being very inconspicuous and discreet about. Next thing up, Jupiter will be in Sagittarius, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, well, as I've talked about in previous videos, Jupiter can be rather paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. In some cases, this might enlarge and expand reckless, foolhardy, over-optimistic, over-exuberant, over-enthusiastic, behavior, perhaps with siblings, cousins, neighbors, even your interactions with them. It could be matters in your communication at this time. You just don't want, I mean, when you're talking about Jupiter energy, it could be very strongly, excuse me, very positive, but you don't want to always take on more than you can chew as far as Jupiter goes. And also, to excuse me again, people, I'm sorry. At this time, it could also manifest in some cases where you might find yourself communicating more about philosophical matters, religious matters, things connected with the law, sports, athletics, translation, foreign languages, anything Sagittarius related. It could also be very auspicious for short journeys at this time, and also incorporating a lot of jocularity and joviality in your communications, and very positive again for short journeys. It could be matters with your vehicle. Could be a very good period where you're driving and you're not really experiencing too much difficulties or dilemmas outside, just filling your tank up for gas and maybe some general maintenance work, but nothing catastrophic. So yeah, anyway, next thing up, Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this point in time. Well, you may be dealing with some restrictions and limitations on the home front. Things on the home front might require a lot more laborious, consistent effort than usual. Things may be a little bit more regiment as far as matters pertaining to the home, your family life, people you're close to home with. Now, in some cases, this could manifest in taking care of a sickly or debilitated, could be a home family member, the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, and someone you're close to home with. It could be something Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, and maybe making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy. Now, at this time as well, you might find yourself also, it could be a time too where older people might figure more prominently in that latter or end part of life if you are in it. But if you're not in it already, they might help you in terms of getting planning for it. And also this could manifest in some cases in getting more structure and discipline in your home life, people you're close to home with. It could be real estate matters, doing and getting yourself really, again, getting a lot of premeditative plan energy and getting ready for that latter or end part of life. And also, this could be a time too where you might be expressing a lot of Saturn, Capricorn qualities that you may have at the core, such as being really a very consistent and serious and really strongly about premeditation, planning, discipline, having structure and discipline, doing and anything that could be Capricorn related. So they're being just very serious, and also being that premeditative planning energy and being responsible can come into play. So anyway, next thing up, Uranus will be in Taurus still, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, in some cases, this could be about dealing with very unpredictable energy. It might be something where you might get an unanticipated inheritance or some kind of loan, or it could be something connected with maybe some kind of debt that comes up unexpectedly. I mean, let's say, we're talking about, this could be some cases where, you're looking at the 8th house. The 8th house is about moral, emotional, monetary support. And this can, when you're talking about Uranus energy, could be very unstable, very unpredictable. And some cases, again, this could be about getting some kind of unanticipated inheritance. There might be some very unpredictable about it, whether it might be a really large amount or maybe a really smaller amount that you anticipate. And a lot of this, of course, can be predicated and dependent on aspects this makes to points in your chart. If it makes a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter or your Venus even, it could be very auspicious, and you might even get a little bit more than you anticipate. I would think especially with the positive aspect to Jupiter. But if it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, you might wind up getting less than you originally anticipated, and it could be very shocking. It could also be, in some cases, manifest in some kind of Uranus surgery. It could be something connected with the ankles or the shins at this time. So, or some unusual form of surgery. I don't think a bionic surgery will happen, but I'm being flippant, of course. But anyway, hold on a moment, people. And remember, the 8th house being about legacy could also manifest in some cases a time where you want to leave a legacy of being ingenious, unorthodox, perhaps even non-conforming, beating to your own drum, being futuristic, humanitarian, showing selfless qualities, and maybe even being that universal friend to others. Now, anyway, next thing up. Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this could be about getting some kind of, you might wind up having to deal with some kind of mysterious or confounding illness, or one that might be Neptune Pisces related. It could be something connected with the, might be some injury to the feet, the toes. You might be dealing with some with the lymphatic system. It could be some kind of something with chemicals. Sometimes it could be something with alcohol, or just something drug related, or even accidental chemical assimilation in some cases, as something that could be chemical related. Could also be where you're dealing with a lot of chaos in your daily routine at this time. And also too, it might be a time where you might even, get perhaps fish as pets if you don't have any right now. And also too, this could be about really, when you're talking about Neptune energy, some cases this could manifest really more, it's really a lot more lackadaisical, lethargic energy. You may feel more like daydreaming and fantasizing in connection with 6th house matters, as opposed to actually doing something in connection with them, and especially if this is making an adverse aspect to your natal ascendant, Mars, or your Sun. So it might feel more like fantasizing and daydreaming as opposed to actually working. But on a positive note, this could also be about putting a lot of self-sacrificing energy into something service-related for others, and in matters with an aunt or an uncle. And those people might seem a little bit more nebulous or unclear, even confusing, more so than usual at this time. Last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, one way this may pan out and manifest, this can, in some cases, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. This could be about the actual or literal death of the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, someone you're close to home with. It could be someone in your home or family life. And also, too, this could be about the obliteration or destruction of root years, some kind of traditions, but at the same time, it could be about revival, as well, as Pluto is connected with regeneration and rebirth. But it could also be about expressing Plutonian traditions. Could be something connected with the occult, astrology, supernatural, things connected with transformation, such as rebuilding vehicles, anything, something related to horror, something that could be spooky, again, something with the supernatural, anything that could be Pluto related. And some cases too, this could also be about really dealing with really trying to gain power at that latter or end part of your life if you're already in it. And also being in control of your home and your family life. At this, a lot of times when you're talking about Pluto energy, it could be wherever it is, and as far as the house goes in the chart, it could be where we expect some kind of infallibility from others. So guard against expecting flawless and infallible behavior from people you're close to home with, the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, and even home family members. And anyway, and also too, this could be a time too where you might be doing something. Looking at this, it could be about the expression of some kind of like Plutonian qualities you may have at the core. It could be very secretive, mysterious qualities, very deep, somebody that goes well beyond the surface and can see through subterfuge and superficiality, and somebody that can have a lot of power and a lot of control. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Libra September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Scorpio September 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of the person astrologically speaking based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.